Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
We have these like spirit days at school, and I found out today that the one that we're having at the end of this month is meme/Vine day. And
oh my god,
Cody, I honestly I think I just need your help on deciding like what one do I even choose, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's just so many.
That's true. That's true.
So that's my work for the rest of this month is, pause on everything else. How am I going to go as hard in the paint as I can for this spirit day,
How do I be every meme?
Yeah, how do I do them all? Do I catch them all? Like, is that what I lean into? I don't know. That's what's currently on my brain, if I'm being honest.
What if you do Free Shavakadu and you just yell all day?
I mean, that's what I do every goddamn day, if I'm being honest. So, I don't know that would help at all. What if I just carried around a bag of lifesavers? Would that be anything?
Oh my god.
If I was just like, yeah, they're lifesaviers, They're, I don't know. I'm gonna workshop it.
Yeah,
but I definitely need help. With more than just this, like I already have professional help, but like I need more help always.
I have professional help. I have cat help.
Exactly. Like I always am in need of help, but I just
of course.
Could I do the?
And I appreciate you understanding, like knowing when you need to ask for help. That's really brave of you. It's hard to do that. It's often the first step.
That's true. Now, here's the real question. Could I be the chicken in the red dress?
Oh my god. So, alright, if I'm picturing this correctly, get a rubber chicken costume.
Yes.
Like a furry kind of chicken costume.
Yeah.
Put on a red dress over top that.
Yes.
And just pose.
Yeah, and just vote.
And just
just stare lovingly up at my moon.
Saunter in.
No, fuck all of this. No, fuck you, fuck all of this. No, I know what I have to be. Cody, I have to be the one that speaks to me so much to my soul. I have to be the girl that has like her t-shirt and shorts on, but then like a dress on top, and she's like, hey, and she's like eating chips. She's like, I want to be famous. Because it's not even that is my career goal. It's just like, it's just such a mood. Just like snacking and being like, hey, I want to be famous.
In case you didn't know, just let me know.
It's just my career goals. Legitimately, I don't know if you saw this earlier on Twitter, but we both were like, hey, what if we just don't read this book anymore? And someone legitimately was like, you could just become a Vine podcast, which like, whoops, we already are.
Yeah, joke's on all of y'all.
Joke's on all of you. Welcome to Into the Vinecast, which I don't know if you saw the news, but Cody, Vine is like coming back. They're trying a reboot again.
Is that true again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, like, V2...
Are y'all not tired? Vine, R.I.P. V2, R.I.P. Gun, but never gun.
Yeah, it's coming back.
Died before it made it.
As, like, Bite or something.
What? Okay.
Yeah. So, it's, like, the spring of, 2019.
Alright.
I'm
interested.
It's a lot of hype.
I can't wait to, like the second I graduate college, I'm like, all right, now to my real career.
For real.
Vine 3.
The fact that you graduate next year makes me feel like the goddamn crypt keeper.
Okay, but you also surround yourself with, like, people who were born a second ago. I don't understand.
True.
Like, this is relative.
Yeah, but, like...
Alright?
Not to get email on this podcast, but, like, I remember when you weren't graduating college.
Yeah.
Which is right now.
Like, right now?
Me just standing up at your graduation party. I remember when Cody wasn't graduating. You're just in the back like, yeah, that was yesterday.
This is Alice when she's throwing that party for Bella. And there's like 3 people there.
For real. Yep. Exactly. It's like her new birthday party, not her like actual birthday party, but her new birthday party, and Alice is like, it's like you were, you know, like I remember the day you were born. And she's like, I was literally like, that was yesterday. I'm like, that was 3 hours ago. Cody, how the hell are you doing?
I'm great because of one thing.
Oh. And?
My heat is back on in my apartment.
Bless up. You know what I mean?
It stopped. It wasn't working for a long time, which was bad because it's cold.
Yes.
So that was inconvenient.
Yes.
Turns out the thermostat just needed batteries in it, and so that was fixed, and now we have heat again.
Whoa.
So look at that.
Weird flex.
Yeah, but okay, I'm warm, so...
Update on public transportation in your neck of the woods. Have the heaters been turned on?
Yes, they have.
Great.
They have. Yep, they are in full swing.
Great. Wait, hold. You have swinging heaters in your public transportation system? That's dangerous.
People are just, like, throwing, like heating pads and just, like...
The fucking last thing I need while getting on public transportation in the morning is to worry about getting concussed by a fucking swinging heater in the morning.
Listen, it's all part of living in the big city, baby. You know? It's just
Chicago sounds terrifying. Chicago is too rough for me. I literally live in a big city, but that is not the city life that I am made for. Jesus. Well,
how are you doing, my dude?
Well, I am doing alright. I have a 3-day weekend as you're listening to this.
Wow.
So...
Weird flex.
But fuck me, you know what I mean? Like,
no, a great flex, a very reasonable flex.
You know, God bless. Or whatever. Today I showed my age with my students because I explained to them what dial-up internet was. And
that'll do it.
And they were like, wait, what? I was like, oh yeah, no, I put on a YouTube video, I went to go take a shower, I came back and it was halfway loaded. And they were like, what? Like they could not compute.
Like, I don't understand.
I also showed them the infamous song, Shoes, by Kelly, today.
You are doing such a service.
Thank you.
You are braver than the Marines.
I know that. And we were saying that on Veterans Day, so... But yeah, I know.
Honestly, nothing but respect for my president.
I mean, listen, me, the Marines, we're both first responders, so, like, you know... Respect to all of us.
It's such a gift, because honestly, I can't imagine my life without the song Shoes being a part of it.
Yeah, agreed.
That video being a part of my life. Like, I would just be drift away at sea.
Mm-hmm.
Like, lost. No direction, no cause.
Yeah, so just know that there was about 90 plus 8th graders today that in the hallways were just going, Shoes. Wow. And it was kind of beautiful, actually.
Yeah, yep.
It did have
This is why we do the work.
It's why I wake up every morning, you know?
It's moments like these.
Yep. It did have an academic purpose. We were actually talking about power dynamics and stereotypes, but, you know, sometimes you just gotta...
Even better. I love it.
Sometimes you just gotta talk about shows.
Yeah.
The real thing that I want to talk to you about today is a tremendous crime that my boyfriend committed today. He did not...
Doesn't he always...
This is now a crime well, hi, welcome to Serial. I'm a cop and I'm arresting my boyfriend. And you're the first to hear about
it. Undercover this whole time.
Yeah. So if you're playing along with that podcast bingo sheet that they posted on Twitter this past week, then hi, add this part. So today, for dinner, my boyfriend and I were having hot dogs. Because we're 12, apparently.
Weird enunciation.
No, shut up. And I asked my boyfriend why he made me 2 hot dogs when I only can eat one. Because gluten-free hot dog buns are the driest thing in the planet Earth.
The Sahara Desert.
But for real, though. So he was like, well, I crave a sausage. And I was like, okay. And...
I hate where this is going.
No, you don't even understand. It was basically what he said was that I can't even describe it. It was so criminal what he said. He was eating the sausage and I asked him why he wanted it so badly. And then he said that it was what he was made to eat. And it was the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. And that he was supposed to eat it because, Guy Fieri made it. Will you please explain to me what the fuck you said about sausage earlier? Because I'm trying to explain it and it's a crime. And I'm so pissed off I can't explain it.
So
don't come near me. I'm upset with you.
There's a microphone that I assume I need to be in proximity of.
Why are you, sitting on the bed but you're, not touching it? Who are you?
This is a great visual gag for your podcast.
Thank you. Go. Just explain, please.
I described hot dogs as a very geometrically satisfying meal. To be fair, you were the one who started this by saying that you felt very satisfied.
No, shut up.
By the hot dog.
I did nothing wrong.
Dinner. I'm just going to say you were the first one to use the term satisfaction in relation to the big Italian sausage that was inside of you. And
I did nothing.
So I just talked about it's a tube that just very much fits in your hole, and then it's just very easy to. It feels very appropriate.
Oh my god!
How did Guy Fieri get into this?
If I remember the riff correctly, if I may address the. I believe what transpired from there was something about me saying, well, I'm going to use those sausages later, and you were like, mm-hmm.
Oh,
and I
was like... No, please.
I'm in hell.
Cody, it gets so much worse.
When I mentioned that, I was like, well, I'm just going to eat them. And
no, you said you were going to get them out.
Mm-hmm. And then I was like, if I was going to, shove these up my butt, I wouldn't tell you. And then you were like, oh, well, that would be floppy.
I can't believe this
And then I'd be
is
like, no, I'll
happening.
just use a frozen one. And now that I'm saying this out loud, the part about these being frozen or thawed, not pertinent to the conversation whatsoever.
It's so important.
Because really the reason you asked me in here was just because, at some point when we were talking about the perspective of using these sausages in that manner, I was just like, take me to Flavor Town.
Oh my god.
And then shortly afterwards referred to myself as the Sauce Boss, which I'm not sure is a Guy Fieri thing.
Get the fuck out of my face.
Like a barbecue sauce thing, but yeah, you're welcome. I'll expect the check in the mail.
Get away from me.
I feel like I'm gonna pass out.
That's what it's like living with him every day.
I'm crying.
I don't like to kink shame the love of my life, but what the fuck is this?
We make it very clear on this podcast, we're not here for kink shaming. Whatever you want to do, as long as it's not hurting anybody. That is a moral offense.
That is a crime against man.
That's a criminal crime. I'm calling the police. They're on their way. I'm calling the FBI.
No, please do. Please do. Because those Costco sausages were not made for that.
No.
Ugh.
No.
Okay.
That's not what God put him on this earth for.
Anyways, welcome to Into the Twilight. Please don't shove frozen sausages up your butt.
If you take one lesson away from this podcast,
Flavor Town is not for your asshole.
oh my god.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
We actually have some more relevant news than that.
Yep.
So, as usual, we have a Screen Rant corner. Thank you to you. When I was pulling this up for Cody earlier, I had the question of if they do anything other than listicles. Because when you pull up their website, at the top it's like movie news, TV news, reviews, and then it has lists. But like, let's be honest.
It's all gotta be lists, yeah.
It's all lists, right? That's what
Everything is like top 20 whatevers, or like, here's 30 things we don't get about this, or like, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It's all of them. Every single one of them.
That's what I thought.
What's populating all these other sections?
I just feel like they just kind of created these empty articles, but nothing's actually in them when you click on them. It's like onion pieces, you know?
They just evaporate.
Right. So anyways, this is Twilight based, about 20 family things that only true fans know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to speak for Cody, but I don't know that I would consider you a true fan, and I feel like you know most of these things.
That would be correct on both fronts.
One of the things that I feel like most people forget is just the fact that the Cullens had a family crest in the movie, and I feel like they did a disservice by not following up on that throughout the rest of it. Because the fact that Edward wore that, like, wristband thing of his family crest is just so fascinating to me, personally.
Yeah. I will say, this photo that's attached with a specific point
Yes.
is hilarious.
Oh, it's very, like, face on a milk carton.
Yes, everyone looks very scared and sad and pensive.
Yes.
But it looks like it just, like, it's a promotional image from the OC.
Oh, that
Like,
too.
this just looks like brooding wealthy teens that are just gonna cause some mischief this summer and get horny, you know?
Yeah, they look like they are sleep deprived and also on drugs. They don't look like
Right.
immortal beings.
Yeah, definitely not. And also, the depth of focus is so shallow that it's just Edward that's really in focus.
Yep.
And then everyone is, like, in staggering, like, levels behind him until Jasper's completely out of focus.
He's gonzo.
He's just a blurred.
That is just his constant state of being. It's just a blur in the background.
Yeah.
Fucking Jasper. I love him so much.
Oh my god.
Yeah, most of these we already know. There's just so much.
My favorite one of these
Yes.
is number 17.
Please.
Logan Lerman and Henry Cavill were the first choices to play Edward.
Never
which
forget.
we knew, but I think it's so fucking funny because Henry Cavill could be Logan Lerman's dad.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they are on the far opposite, like, range of, like, Hollywood dudes. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like, they both, like, look similar, I guess, because they have dark hair and they're kind of pale.
Yes.
And that's it. But, like, Henry Cavill's this, like, bulky, older dude, like, you know, and then Logan Lerman was this fucking dweeb teen. I can't believe these are two reasonable options that we have for the same person.
Exactly. The numbering system on these is so wild, too. I'm glad that there are quite a few things on here about Rosalie, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
But the number one, I think, is the weirdest takeaway, because I don't know that you need to be a true fan to know this. But they have a weird obsession with being married and, quote, completing each other. Again, I don't know that that's a surprise for the average layman that hasn't read this. I mean, maybe they don't know, like, the intricacies of the Cullen family, per se, but I feel like if you just looked at, like, the promotional photos from Breaking Dawn, you can see that people are paired off.
Yeah.
So it's not that hard to kind of go from there.
Right.
I just don't know that any of those are surprising. Here's my challenge to you, Screen Rant. Step it the fuck up.
Yeah, get some fucking experts up there.
I believe that there are experts. I just want more nuanced shit. If you're gonna bring us this stuff, like, 10 years, let's make it relevant again, then give me some new content, is what I'm asking for.
Listen, if the money's right, I'll write about Twilight, alright?
Oh.
My journalistic integrity can be thrown out the window if the cash is good. You know what I mean?
Listen, if I can get 2 heaters, fuck yeah.
If I can get a heated blanket,
Ooh.
like a nice one,
I know, ours is ready
it's
to go
over.
kaput. So, listen, there isn't, I mean,
We're here.
Hey.
We're ready.
yeah.
Send us an invoice. Send us a W-9. Let's go.
You're saying
Let's
a
get
lot of
the
words
show
right
on the
now.
road.
That's why, listen, I do the, like, content side of this podcast, but Cody does all the goddamn business, because you're saying a lot of words right now that I'm just like, My brain just automatically dissociates. You sound like buzzing when you start talking about that stuff. You just sound like dial-up to me.
Just like censoring me.
Yep. This just makes me go dial-up in my brain. Let's talk about good noises in the head, though, aka the music.
Nice transition.
Thank you.
Of course.
We have a really good article to talk about, and then a hilariously shitty one to talk about.
Yeah.
The first one, I guess, is kind of an intro into this topic, is this one from Uprocks. Can you just read me the title of this, please? Because it's just so bad.
It's very bad. It is how the Twilight movies introduced a generation of girls to indie music. Which, like, I get this a little bit more, because Allie has a very firm opinion on this, which is valid, very valid. I might understand from a perspective that's like, hey, music like Radiohead and like all the like different bands and stuff might have been seen as inaccessible to young girls because of like masculinity and all these things or whatever.
Sure.
And they weren't seen as like cool, right? Because pop music is for women and like rock music and indie music is like not. You know what I mean?
Did you say pot music?
I said pop.
Oh.
But yeah, you know how girls love weed music?
I was gonna say, I was like, then Radiohead would...
Yeah.
Wait a
Yeah.
second.
So like,
Are you saying girls
there
are
are
automatically
ways-
deadheads?
I mean, hey.
I mean, listen.
Listen. What I'm saying is that, like, music historically has been very gendered because of the roles at which we ascribed
Yes.
music and the way that we've ascribed gender as well. And those relationships are still very intertwined today.
Yeah. Exactly.
However, it is a little silly to be like, women have never heard indie music until Twilight
Yes.
happened in 2008.
Agreed. It's just wild that they would make such a claim like that.
Yeah.
To say something, because it definitely kind of strikes a binary of like, oh, you know what they say, like, you're either a Kelly Clarkson or you're a David Cook, you know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, but like, what if I want to be a Taylor Hicks? What if I want to be a Carrie Underwood? You know what I mean? I really don't know that many other American Idol winners, so like, this is running kind of short. I think there might be a Jordan Sparks in there. I don't know.
Yep, Jordan Sparks is there.
Ooh, I didn't watch that much American Idol.
Yo, remember fucking David Archuleta came back because he tweeted something
my
like the
God.
other day and everyone fucking fell in love with like about elections and it was triggering.
Holy shit. There was a guy named, his name was the name of a sandwich.
Oh, Ruben
Studdard!
Yeah! And we got Clay Aiken. And
Oh
we
my
got-
god. Then it was like Justin Guarini was there too. What was the boy? He was
Yeah.
just on the Wicked thing I just watched. Adam, what's his face? Adam Lambert. Was he? Hey, welcome to Into the Idol. You know what I mean?
Hey, here's a very embarrassing fact about me.
No, tell me.
So I loved American Idol growing up.
Mm.
I watched it for years
Okay.
growing up. It was a very ritual thing with my family. Like, that was our show.
Okay.
Similar, do you remember those, like, Glee concerts that happened?
Oh, do I?
So I went to a similar one that was for American Idol.
Oh my god. What?
Yeah. So they had one. It was basically the same thing. Every year they had like a tour that they would go to all these cities with like the top, let's say like 10 or something.
Oh my god.
Of American Idol, and I went the year that like Adam Lambert was there because I was gay at the time and didn't know that I was in love with Adam Lambert.
Yeah. Yeah.
And something clicked, and yeah, so I went to that and it was amazing. Probably, I don't remember it, but I feel like I had a great time.
That's fair. Holy shit.
Yeah,
That's so wild. What?
yeah.
I thought those were just like advertisements but weren't real things that people did.
They were real. They were very real.
Same with like Disney on Ice. Like that's not real, right? Nobody actually goes to like Disney on Ice. Right? Same with like Cirque du Soleil. Like that's not real, right?
They're just billboards. They don't actually.
Yeah, it's like that's not real. Like those are fronts for cults, right?
They're just drug deals. They're all fucking what's it called? Speakeasies. They're all speakeasies.
Is Disney on Ice a speakeasy? What the fuck? I knew I couldn't trust Walt Disney.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Whoa. It all makes so much more sense now.
This
Honestly,
episode has taken so many turns.
okay. The reason why we started talking about Uprocks, okay, in this shitty article is
Yeah.
because, listen, this is why we don't do night pods anymore, folks. Things get buck wild. We should have known.
It's true.
The reason why we started talking about this is because of the actual article we want to talk about, Billboard. So they did this article called, it's a listicle, called The 20 Best Original Twilight Songs Ranked. So I want to get your thoughts on this because, as we've talked about so many times before, the Twilight Saga has bops on bops. Like, it's all so good. And so to be able to, like, rank it is just rude, first of all.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious about this. This has some of my favorite artists on here of all time. And songs in general. So do you have some original, like, thoughts right off the bat?
Well, I love that my queen Hayley Williams is just right up front at number 2.
Yes.
Thank God. Here's a fucking question though. What the fuck is Supermassive Black Hole?
That's what I wanted to ask you about. Like, how is...
What the fuck is happening?
That's so
the number
iconic.
one is a Muse song, but it's a fucking... Who fucking cares? It's another song that was for New Moon or whatever. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry. If that's the only song.
It's the most iconic song, so to not put it on there is an
Yeah.
injustice.
On any part of this list. It's not on the entire list.
It's off-brand also, too.
Yeah. Criminal.
I'm, as much as I personally enjoy the Black Keys, I'm surprised they put Chop and Change so high up.
It's very high.
It's very high.
I'm also surprised at how relatively low 1,000 Years is. I feel like that's like the song that people are like very emotionally attached to.
Yeah, that's the one that I feel like people are like, people use it
Like
like their...
associate it with it, yeah.
They use it like their weddings and stuff. But yeah, it's like halfway into the list, which is wild. It's honestly criminal that Carter Burwell's composition for Bella's Lullaby is literally almost off the list. It's at 15, and like, I'm gonna fucking fight someone. That's disgusting. It's the only composition on this whole fucking list. And like, Carter Burwell, no, stop. Because I already know the face you're making. He went off on these compositions this whole time. And that's the only one that they're going to put on here this whole time. They're not going to put Love, Death, like, I fucking hate it. I don't understand. I know nothing about music. I pretend like I know a lot about compositions, but I get fucking heated about them. And so to only put that one on there is disgusting. Anyways.
I just need everyone to know that I lied about my heating being turned on. It's just my radiator is being powered just by Allie's fuse and white hot rage.
That's
it's just
fair.
channeling this energy and heating my home.
That's fair. Honestly, that's Fair. Yeah, anyway, the bands on here are really good. Like, if you...
Yeah.
Honestly, if you've been
Slaps.
listening to our whole podcast for the past 2 years and you haven't listened to the Twilight soundtracks yet, what are you doing? Like, stop. Like, pause the podcast.
I get that it might feel shameful to have that album art just, like, staring at your face.
But go do something else and listen to it at the same time.
Do a little private browser session Spotify. No one has to know.
I did not know where you were going with that sentence for a second.
And just treat yourself, you know?
Yes, also that. I think we have some questions here.
Yeah.
We got one that was just more of a comment that said, are we ready to be finally freed of this god-awful trilogy?
Right,
Now that
thank
we're
you.
moving on to our last book here, which, I mean, for me, yes.
Yeah.
Even though we still have what? We have, is it 2 books from Christian's perspective?
Yeah.
1? Yeah. Yikes.
Just 2, yeah.
Ugh. No.
At least they might make another.
Kill me. And then we got a question here from one of our patrons, Rachel. Would you like to read this?
Yeah.
Great.
They said, I always thought it was weird that Belle planned to basically say goodbye to her family forever after she was turned instead of just like claiming she got plastic surgery or something and followed Edward Crazy's skincare routine. IDK didn't make sense to me when I read it the first time as a small teen. What do y'all think, or am I missing a bigger point here? Thanks.
So this is a good point. And I think that was more so a Stephenie Meyer thing.
Yeah.
Rather than a Carlisle is probably an expert in that area kind of thing.
Sure.
So she was like, no, families have to be separated forever. But I feel like if I would have done it, actually I probably would have just been like, deuces. Like, I'm definitely dead.
Yeah, I think it was just more of like a safety thing,
Mhm.
right? It was just like, we want to make sure that you're protected, we want to make sure that Charlie's protected. These relationships, like, while it worked for, like, you and Edward or whatever for a bit, like, those are very rare circumstances, and it probably won't work with, like, a familial context. Like,
Yeah.
it's probably just best that you're with other vampires, just because, like, that's how it'd be, you know?
Yes. Yeah, I think the way that it was justified was that there had been no other evidence to prove that it was safe otherwise.
Right.
And
yeah.
so it was better to go with the known than the unknown in that context. But yeah, it's a great skincare routine, so it's worth trying it. We have a new book to be reading. Could you, I know that we've already read through the first 2 chapters, but could we do some predictions about what in the hell is this one going to be about?
I have no clue.
I could literally throw a dart at the wall. I have no goddamn idea.
Yeah.
It could
I
have
got
just...
wedding, I got possible murder, like, espionage situation.
Exactly.
Those are the only things that I know are coming. I don't know how they come. I don't know when they come. I don't know what's happening.
Agreed.
Just, it's the worst.
I agree. Yes, so this prologue, as usual, E.L. James does her flashbacks to Christian's perspective. And they're so cringy, folks.
Yep.
They're very bad, especially because they're trying to be written from small Christian's perspective. And
Yep.
so I don't like reading from a traumatized 4 or 5-year-old's perspective.
Yeah.
It's very bad, and I don't like it.
Reasonable.
And also, it's just very poorly written. Like, I just don't... It's bad. It's all bad.
Yep.
And so that's, again, our usual prologue, giving us more context into how Christian's mother died and, like, what he was doing to self-soothe and also survive during that time. Not good stuff, folks. Not good. He was eating a lot of random stuff from the freezer to survive. Chapter 1... Okay, like, this book is so bad.
It's, like, I can't even begin to describe how worse this is from anything we've read before. Already.
Yep.
Like, it's so bad.
Yep.
It's so much worse, like, on every emotional and abusive front. It's worse written-wise. It's horrible. Like, we've seen some vile shit. And this is so bad. I was like, my jaw was on the floor with how bad the shit I was reading was.
I agree. One of the things that struck me the most in just the first, 2 paragraphs of this first chapter
Yeah.
was it felt like E.L. James was learning how to write for the first time. And she was
Yes.
like, hey, I learned this new fancy thing called a flashback. Let me show everyone in the world how to use it. I am a sudden expert on it, even though it's my first time. And it feels so rough and so disjointed and also so obvious that as a reader, it pulled me out of the experience, for sure. This first chapter starts off with them on their honeymoon in the Mediterranean, and it's the most boring scene of just the two of them reading out on the beach, which, like, seems nice, don't get me wrong.
Right, sure.
But also,
And
like...
they're probably having a great time.
Yes.
I'm happy for them, or whatever.
But then it's... Anna falls back into a flashback because she's, like, sitting back, like, I doze in the sun, like, I'm idly remembering about his proposal, and then it's just so many ellipses, and it's like, we get it, like, you're transferring us into a flashback. You also included, like, the little, like, swirly thing, like, we get it.
Right.
Like, it's very...
I'm there.
I'm
I got
here.
it.
We are here. And so that's when things get bad, and very quickly do so. It kind of puts us right back where the last book left off with his proposal.
Yep.
He's like, Vegas, now? And
Let's get hitched, baby.
yeah. And so it kind of turns out exactly like Breaking Dawn with their conversation, which is what I took down in my notes. Is it feels exactly like Breaking Dawn, where he's like, you have a month, and that's all I'm waiting. My mother has a month to put this together. But after that, you're mine. Rawr. And it's just like, okay. Like,
And the way that, like, Anna's phrasing it, she's always like, oh my god, we've already spent so much time together. Like, what's another, couple months or whatever, right? But y'all been together for, like, a month.
yep. It said it had been weeks at that point.
Yeah.
I think, what did we say last podcast? It had been like a couple weeks, 2 weeks.
Like 5. Yeah.
I think it had been like just a couple weeks or something, like a handful.
Right.
And then she flashes back forward again to the present, where Christian is talking about her being afraid she'll burn out in the sun. And Anna idly asks, since they're in Monaco, how he would feel if she went topless like everyone else on the beach. Because that is a very common thing that happens outside of the U.S. And shockingly enough for Christian, he does not like that. Now, Cody, this is the part where you shared your thoughts about the book on Twitter. Can you delve into what you were thinking at this time?
It's fucking horrible. Let me pull up the actual quote, because I'm gonna, like... I need everyone to know that this was real and this was written.
Yeah.
So they're like, no. He's like, no, whatever. And they're playing it off as something that's super, like how they always do, which is like, oh my god, like, he's so, like, argumentative. It's, like, hot. And it's like, no, this is abuse. This is horrible.
Yeah.
And then he, like, slaps her on the ass and is like, you'll do, wench. He calls her a wench! Like, it's the fucking 16th century! What is happening? I can't... And it's like, everyone is like, oh, this is so cute. Love is real. I love it. They're having a beautiful vacation. What the fuck is happening? What?
It makes no sense.
And he's like, my eyes only. Like, your body is mine only. Which, again, disgusting.
Yep.
Gross. And then her body, her inner goddess is like, fuck yeah, I'm into it. It sucks. This is so bad.
And it just doesn't seem accurate that all of a sudden she's just like, she's like joking around, but she's not. Because she's like, hey, I'm...
for real, though.
Yeah, because she's like, hey, I'm really happy that the dynamic that we have is helping me figure out the confidence that I have in my body.
Yeah.
How would you feel if I went topless? I don't need to ask, but, like, how would you feel? And then he shuts her down, and the reaction that E.L. James portrays with that is her being like, oh, Christian, my possessive, jealous, control freak Christian. And it's like, no. No?
Yeah, it's also just a poor characterization of Anna, right? Because she would have been like, no, fuck you. Like,
Exactly.
if I want to take off my top, I'll take off my top. Like, yeah, she often does the thing where, like, she lets him get away with, like, a lot of shit that he shouldn't. But, like, she's still very equally argumentative and equally, like, standing up for her own self and beliefs in some ways. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yep. So it's very bad. Then,
I think Christian tries to fuck her in the ocean, kind of.
Yep. Yep.
It's the worst thing I've ever read.
He thinks, he, like, teases her that he's going to, and then he just, like, throws her into the sea.
Right. I was reading it and I'm like, am I really gonna fucking read these two people fuck in the ocean where there's like a beach full of people just like watching?
Nope.
And I didn't, thank God.
Nope.
But the fact that he was like, oh, well, people are watching. The paparazzi are watching. I can't just fuck you in the ocean. It's like, yeah, Christian, no one's gonna fuck someone in the ocean. There's
that's
people
so
here.
bad.
You can't just do that.
So he does all this, like, quote, playful stuff in her eyes. She gets back onto her chair up on the beach, and she's like, you know what? Fuck you, Christian. She lays down with her stomach on the sand and takes her top off. It's like she's tanning her back. Like, what? That's so normal.
Yep.
And she throws her top on his, like, sun chair, and then she goes back to sleep. Like, that's a mood.
Yeah.
And
I'm there.
exactly. And so then it flashes back again to the wedding day. Which, again, hi, have you read Breaking Dawn? Then you don't need to read this. It's the same exact thing.
Like, line for line.
Yep, exactly. Yes. It's just that instead of, like, more greens and in the woods, it's at the Cullen family house, and it's pink. That's it. That's the only differences that have happened. The only other things that have happened here that are different, obviously, we have Jose there. He doesn't turn into a wolf. That would be a very wild shift to happen in the third book here with no context. So that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Because what? That would be... Thankfully, that's not where E.L. James starts to completely continue her copying. But that's about it. Like, I find the marriage scene really boring, personally.
It's, like, so skimmed over, like, it's like nothing happens.
Yep.
There's no... Again, the one... I have many complaints about this whole series. But the one thing that really grinds my gears is, like, this should be reeking of opulence,
Yes.
right? Like, if this is a guilty pleasure and I'm supposed to be having a good time and, like, reading this on a beach or, like, a vacation and, like, having a guilty pleasure doing it, right?
Yes.
I want to be dripping in gold. I want to feel like this is just, like, is decadent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting none of that, even though there's this premise that there's so much money involved, there's this guise of wealth. It is never, ever, ever shown or utilized, ever.
Yep.
And it's just boring. I'm so bored. Like, I can't believe I have to I have to look at any other wedding scene now that I've seen the Crazy Rich Asians wedding scene. Because that's it. That's how you fucking do it, folks. Like, that's it.
And that's exactly what I was thinking of when I was reading this, and I was like, are you kidding me? This could have been so extra. And this is what you went for?
What else are we doing here? If not to get a fucking, like, fantasy escape, right? And, like, just dive into the world of, like, wealthiness and opulence for a bit. And horny sexy time or whatever.
Right. And I know that there's a part of it that E.L. James is trying to, like, have Christian be like, fuck you, paparazzi. I don't want you to know anything about me. But also, they're going, just like every other paparazzi does with any sort of celebrity wedding, they're gonna find their way in because low-key the celebrities want them at the wedding. Like, if they're gonna find their way in if people want them to be there, right?
Yeah, right.
And so, like, why not just lean into it and make it as close to a royal wedding as you can, then? Why not have all the gifts be donated to your fucking charity, Christian? Like,
Right.
why not make it a big deal and promote your image if that's what you're so into? I don't know. It felt so disappointing that the only thing that felt like opulence to him was the plane that they were flying in. And he was like, oh yeah, I want to have us fly at 35,000 feet on our wedding night. And like, it was nothing. The whole thing. Yeah, I was super bored by all of it, if I'm being honest.
Yep.
When Anna wakes up from this little flashback that she's having, Christian is pissed. And Anna's like, crap, he's mad. He's really mad. And that's where chapter 1 ends.
Yep.
So, chapter 2 begins, and she realizes that she's, like, on her front. At some point during her, like, nap, she has switched over on her side. Normal. That happens. And Christian's pissed. He, like, throws her top at her and tells her to, like, get up and put it on, and that they're, like, leaving. And the reason why he says all this is he's like, everyone's looking, Taylor's looking, security's looking, the paparazzi's looking, and making her feel like even though this body that he talks about all the time is perfect, it's supposed to be for hers alone, and that if anyone ever looks at it, like, her value is soiled.
Yeah.
And it's so gross.
It's the fucking worst.
Yeah, it makes me feel very uncomfortable.
It's, like, I can't believe this was written so recently.
Yep.
It's that appalling. And I'm very curious to see if this translates to the movie, because so far we've seen that the movie is a little less fucking horrible in terms of, like, some of the takes it takes.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it just seems so distant from any form of human decency that we've learned over the past, like, ages of rom-coms, and even since Twilight came out.
Yes.
Like, even since we've kind of learned from that whole period of time that, like, oh, maybe we should treat women with respect and write them differently, and write our relationships with women differently, and write our men's relationships with women differently.
Right.
And all these things. And it's just so far removed from that it's just, like, it's so antiquated and, like, horrific.
Yeah, it doesn't even... With most scenes where Christian is doing this, I try to see where E.L. James is coming from.
Right.
Because oftentimes she's trying to do it of, like, in our society, these masculine aspects are seen, like, these possessive aspects are seen as possessive. And that is often equated with, like, being attractive, right? That is what society is taught. And so that is what I try to keep in mind as reading, is, like, this is not what is attractive to me, but that is what has been put into my head for what is being attractive. But when I read stuff that's currently, like, we're right at this moment, I'm 30 pages into this, and nothing about this is attractive to me. Like, he is not doing anything that is, like, screaming husband to me.
Right.
And that's really frustrating. Like, he's just making her feel really embarrassed and ashamed of her body, and that's not personally what I would want out of a husband.
No.
It's just really frustrating and sad. So he throws this life jacket on her and tells her that they're leaving and going back to the yacht that they've been spending their honeymoon on. The only thing that seems more characteristic of Christian than making her feel ashamed of her body is that Taylor goes to go get the yacht and meet him on this jet ski that apparently they have to drive out to the yacht. And while Christian is driving this jet ski, yeah, sure, to the yacht, he, like, misses the yacht and continues, like, playing on the jet ski and going out.
Like a child.
Like an actual child. And heading out towards the open water and, like, spraying the sea spray everywhere and stuff. And it just felt very characteristic, I would say, of Christian.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in a good way, just like, this is just, how have the two things of him in the same person, and just happened in, like, the same 5-minute span, I guess.
And also the fact that moment, Anna describes it as him acting his age for once.
Yes.
Which I thought was really interesting. Because in that moment, he is acting like a child.
Yep. Yep.
And I guess she's so disillusioned by the fact that he's always acting like a professional businessman, and he's actually younger. He's just like a young spring chicken and whatever. But it's like, motherfucker, if this is how you feel like your husband, your adult man husband, is gonna act, like, it's over.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't understand what he was... everything about it is so frustrating. So they get back to the yacht. They start having drinks, and he starts being like, hey, so, have a drink, and also don't piss, because I'm gonna have sex with you. And
you know how it is.
You know how we do. It's great. And then they do the sex thing.
Yeah.
Here.
With handcuffs?
With handcuffs. Yeah, but not before she does that flashback about the prenup.
Oh my god, yeah.
Which was a wild
inclusion
of Christian being very adamantly anti-prenup, which doesn't seem accurate for his character to me, but...
Yeah.
Like, with all of his abandonment issues and, like, creating everything he owned, he's just willing to throw that away with the first person that comes into his life. I don't know. That just seemed weird to me. But yeah, so they have the sex, and they do so with handcuffs this time. And Anna seems to like it, ?
Yeah.
Because she kind of falls asleep and stuff, and then, like, after an hour or so, wakes up to go pee, and she's, like, has her robe on as she's walking over to the bathroom, and then the chapter ends with her looking at herself in the mirror and asking what Christian did to her, and we don't really know what she means by that, other than everything, like, other than what has he done except for everything at that point. But that's where it ends. So next week we have chapters 3 and 4 to go off of. I can only hope that it gets better from here, but if I'm being realistic, I doubt that. This week, we thought we would go back to our roots and thank our patrons with Reductress article titles.
Hell the fuck yeah.
Yeah, I thought that'd be pretty good. So I would love to thank Shannon Clearwater, one of our fantastic patrons. I'm going to have her be this article title, which is Inspiring. This woman got over her crush by listening to him speak.
It's so good.
It's a mood.
Shout out to Katie Weber.
Who's
gonna be 5. Thank you. Who's gonna be 5 stylish coats to hold for your friends while they dance.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give a huge shout out to Simon Steele, who is going to be how to tell your friend you're proud of her boring little achievement. And Cody, could you choose one that explains your week so far for me, please?
Oh, God. Mine's definitely going to be how to rock an oversized sweater so it looks hot and not like it doesn't fit.
God, fuck, I was about to choose that one. Okay, so then I'm gonna choose make him nut so hard he's supernaturally forced to lip sync Belafonte's Deo.
Oh my god. Yep.
Yep, I feel like that kind of explains itself, if I'm being honest. Okay, so I have a fan fiction for you today.
Thank God.
I don't think I've done this one.
Okay.
Pretty sure I haven't done this one. It was written by Factor Fiction 96, and I can only imagine that Factor Fiction 69 was taken, but who knows. The title of this is 50 Shades, the poem. And the summary is just a short poem summarizing the 50 Shades trilogy.
Great.
And it was published on February 10th of last year. Okay, are you ready?
Oh, no. I guess.
Okay. Disclaimer, I don't own 50 Shades. 50 Shades of Fucked Up, that's what I am. Abused as a child, sadist of a man. 50 Shades of Fucked Up, that's what he is. Stick to the rules or let out a painful hiss. 50 Shades of Fucked Up, that's what I am. In my red room of pain or in the glider I land. 50 Shades of Fucked Up, that's what he is. Secrets to tell, all of them his. 50 Shades of Fucked Up, that's what I am. Falling in love, becoming a different man. 50 Shades of Fucked Up, he wants to change. Red lines of lipstick, Jack's actions are strange. 50 Shades of Fucked Up, I can be what she wants. Flowers and chocolates, helicopter crash that will haunt. 50 Shades of Fucked Up, he becomes what I want. The boss who deceives, the father he's not. 50 Shades of Fucked Up, I'm scared of the change. A man angry at the past, my feelings deranged. And there's more, but I'm gonna stop it because of spoilers, so end
Yeah,
scene.
spoilers. Wow. Beautiful. Snaps, everyone, snaps.
Oh yeah, sorry, snap.
Snaps. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, you know, it's kind of beautiful, you know? I think we can all kind of think about it as we move into NaNoWriMo, you know what I mean?
Oh my god.
Well, you know, as we say here in Seattle,
Give it.
and, you know, get yourself whipped.
You know what? Go get yourself whipped.
Just
get
do
yourself
it.
some whips.
And get whipped, you know what I mean? Just do it all.
This is an Earbud Media production. You can find us on Twitter at Earbud Media and listen to the rest of our shows. You can find this show on Twitter at Into the Twilight, as well as intothetwilight.show. You can send us an email at intothetwilightshow@gmail.com. You can also become a sponsor of the show or buy some merch at intothetwilight.bigcartel.com. Our art is done by Maddie Padilla, who you can find at YourGhostHost44 on Instagram, and our music is done by Eli Krause, who you can find at Eli Sauerkraus and KrausFilms.com. The intro and outro is by KB Smith, who you can find at KB__Smith on Twitter. You can find Allie on Twitter at Into Wild Places, and you can find me at Dyke Discourse.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.